Paula Salazar was born on September 6, 2015, in Venezuela. Her mother, Andrina Bermudos Million, was from Machorina, Minagas. Her father, Leonardo Salazar, was from Tucupito, a town in the state of Delta Amaquiro. A year after Paula was born, in September 2016, the couple decided to immigrate with their child to Ecuador. They were looking for a better life for themselves and their daughter. A month after moving to Quito, the capital of Ecuador, the relationship in the family deteriorated for a number of reasons. Andrina decided to break up with Leonardo and soon moved to Cuenca, the third largest city in Ecuador. She took Paula with her. In Cuenca lived the mother of her best friend, who kindly offered to let her and the girl stay in her house while they found another place to live and work. Leonardo, the girl's father, given the breakup and other circumstances, decided to return to Venezuela, to his hometown of Tucupito. After a while, he immigrated again, this time to Trinidad and Tobago. At the time, Leonardo had already been disabled for a long time. The man's left arm had been completely disabled after an accident he had suffered while driving a motorcycle at a very young age. Since the man could not use his left arm, it was apparently difficult for him to find a good job, even in Ecuador's capital city. After Andrina moved to Cuenca, she almost completely stopped communicating with Leonardo, only informing him once that she had taken a job on a farm in Tapacundo. A few months after separating from Leonardo, Andrina entered into a new romantic relationship with a man named Washington Andres Aimaro. Andres was a local Ecuadorian and, more importantly, he was the owner of the farm where Andrina worked. The man grew up in a wealthy family. When Paula was about a year and a half old, Andrina moved in with Andres together with Paula. Andrina and Andres had a child together on April 7, 2019. With a newborn baby, the family became happier and more united. However, everything changed when an event happened on March 27, 2020 that completely altered the lives of everyone involved. At the time, the family was living well, enjoying every day, and things were going well on the farm. On one such day, as happy as it seemed, Andres took Paula in his car and went with her to the flower plantations. On the way there, the girl got very sick. She became dizzy and began to vomit. Andres had no choice but to stop at a public restroom. As soon as he and the girl entered, Paula vomited again. He decided to leave her alone for a few minutes and went back to the car to find a change of clothes since the girl's clothes were all dirty. When Andres returned, he found Paula lying with her head in the toilet bowl. The man immediately pulled the girl out, tried to give her first aid, and soon brought her to the hospital. When the 4-year-old girl was handed over to doctors, she no longer showed any signs of life. Doctors declared Paula dead. After the doctors on duty performed an initial examination and assessed the girl's condition, they realized that the story Andres told them was full of inconsistencies. For example, the doctors determined at first glance that the girl had bruises on her body and face, the nature of which could not be attributed to the information her foster father provided. Medical protocol in such cases requires doctors to contact the police. Indeed, the situation itself suggested this. Shortly after, the police arrived, and Andres was arrested as a suspect in Paula's murder. Although Andres said Paula had drowned in the toilet bowl, the autopsy of the body revealed something much darker. First of all, the tests showed that the girl had been dead for about 24 hours when she arrived at the hospital, which doesn't fit with the man's version of events. The girl's foster father claimed that he gave Paula first aid and cardiopulmonary resuscitation, and that this all happened just 20 minutes before he took her to the hospital. On the other hand, the autopsy found that the girl had several broken ribs, multiple microtraumas, a cracked spine, and sepsis, which caused her death. It became apparent that Paula's death was not an accident, as her small body had a significant number of both recent and old injuries. Leonardo Salazar, the girl's father, learned of Paula's death on March 30, 3 days after the events. His mother, who is still in Venezuela, had informed him of his daughter's death by phone. She herself had learned it from Andrina's friend. It should be mentioned that after Leonardo left Ecuador and Andrina started a new relationship, she stopped all communication with him. That is why Leonardo didn't know anything about the tragedy until then. He could only see Paula through the pictures Andrina and his mutual friends had sent him. In addition, Andrina blocked Leonardo on all social media, preventing him from communicating with Paula. She also cut off communication with almost all of Leonardo's relatives. Andrina even turned almost all of their mutual friends against the girl's birth father, telling them about his lack of desire to communicate with Paula. So, Leonardo was able to learn of his daughter's death. However, Andres's family informed him of an alternative cause of death. They told him that Paula died of complications. At the time, Ecuador, like the rest of the world, was under quarantine due to the pandemic. However, there were virtually no deaths from the coronavirus in the country. Leonardo was undoubtedly very suspicious, so he immediately began researching statistics on deaths from the virus in Ecuador. The statistics were posted on social media and news websites. Leonardo immediately noticed that there were no children among the few victims of the coronavirus in Ecuador. Leonardo's relatives helped him investigate, and one of them soon sent him a newspaper article mentioning the arrest of Andres, who was suspected of killing Paula. Leonardo then began calling Andrina daily, and it wasn't until 10 days later that she decided to call him back herself. In that conversation, Andrina rather coldly informed Leonardo that Paula had died and that she could not give him more information because her lawyers had forbidden her to do so. The next step Leonardo took was to create a Facebook page together with an acquaintance of his dedicated to Paula, as well as an Instagram profile called Justice for Paula. The published posts caused a huge backlash across social media. Their main goal was to bring those responsible for his daughter's death to justice. On the same day that Andrina called Leonardo, she arrived at the morgue to begin dealing with her daughter's funeral, even though the prosecutor working on the case asked for more time to investigate the body. But the girl's funeral took place on April 10, 2020. Andrina simply did not allow a second autopsy to be performed on the girl. Thanks to the information posted on social media and Andrina's friends, people in her circle contacted Leonardo and told him about the sad life Paula had in the years before her death. They sent Leonardo the information they had, most of which was based on isolated recordings of conversations, photos, audio recordings, and similar things. According to witnesses, ever since Paula's mother moved in with Andres, the girl had to endure abuse from her stepfather as well as her own mother. Not only did Andres allow his daughter to be treated this way, but she herself was directly involved in all of this. Everyone said that they only saw Paula happy and cheerful when she was playing alone. In the presence of her stepfather, the girl looked depressed, acted shy, and became suddenly very frightful. At one point, the little girl told people she knew that her mother and stepfather beat her when she misbehaved. One day, she even confessed that, as punishment, Andres pushed her and she hit her head on the wall. Paula called her stepfather nothing less than a monster and was undoubtedly very afraid of him. The little girl constantly had nightmares, and as a young child, she already suffered from insomnia. The couple initially preferred that the girl, who was 2 years old at the time of moving into the stepfather's home, sleep alone. When falling asleep, she often cried, but no one paid any attention to her. In addition, Her mother and stepfather forced her to tuck herself in without help. Moreover, her mother, Andrina, had been teaching her how to cook since she was 2 years old. This was something out of the realm of reason. Paula was forced to cook her own breakfast and dinners because her mother liked to sleep in the mornings and take a break from the baby in the evenings. She simply didn't want to take care of her daughter. Not only that, but Andrina was not bothered by the fact that the girl had to cope with the baking oven by herself, despite the dangers. At the preschool, where her mother had placed Paula, the girl constantly complained of pain in her legs and back, and often stated that she could not walk. Her constant complaints, as well as the bruises on her body, forced the teacher to show her to the doctors at the health center. After an examination, they concluded that the girl was being mistreated in the family. The girl's teachers then called the special police organization so they could investigate the girl's abuse in her family. Officials took up the case and decided to send the girl somewhere she could be safe while the investigation process was underway. As a result, on October 16, 2019, Paula was temporarily transferred to her uncle, Andrina's brother. A hearing on the case was set for December 4, 2019. Unfortunately, the teachers who were supposed to testify never showed up for whatever reason. They were unable to attend this hearing. This was a very convenient development for Andrina, who attended the hearing with her partner Andres. She managed to convince the judge to give Paula back to her because there was not enough evidence to convict her of mistreating the girl. The judge decided to give her one last chance to change her behavior. As a result, Paula returned to her mother, which led to an even worse fate for her. The worst punishment for the girl came when she told her mother and stepfather that her teachers had called the police because they suspected she was being mistreated in her home. Andres and Andrina punished the girl so severely that she became covered in bruises from the beatings. As Andrina beat her daughter, she screamed at her that she was just a snitch and a liar. Paula was not even allowed to go out, as her mother was afraid that someone would see the bruises on the girl's face and body. Her stepfather also started to abuse her even more often, and the girl was once again banned from sleeping with them. She was forced to go to bed alone and spend the night alone, no matter how bad she felt. In January 2020, Paula became even more fearful. She didn't talk much to other children in the nursery and behaved in a very reclusive manner. The girl complained to the teachers that her mother was mistreating her. Sometimes, she did not even want to go home and refused to leave the nursery. One of the teachers described how the girl once asked her to adopt her because she no longer wanted to live with her mother and stepfather. In a conversation with another teacher, Paula said that if she stayed with her mother, she would soon die. Unfortunately, neither the teachers nor the nursery management took the girl's statement seriously enough to take immediate action. Shortly before her death, Paula was seriously ill. She could barely walk and refused to go to school altogether, and her mother was simply not interested in what was wrong with the child. However, shortly before her death, she called the doctors, but they could not say anything concrete. In their opinion, the girl should be hospitalized. The doctors gave Andrina a referral, but she simply did not take her daughter to the hospital, and Paula was left in their home in Tapacundo. The girl's condition continued to deteriorate, and on March 27, 2020, she simply died. Paula's death, according to the coroner, was due to sepsis, which occurred because her parents simply did not care about the girl and did not seek medical help in time. If Andrina had brought her daughter to the hospital, the doctors could have saved her. However, this was the only case of mistreatment that happened with the involvement of doctors. As was revealed later, Andrina also forbade Paula from going to the dentist because she was afraid of losing too much money. On April 10, 2020, Paula was buried at the municipal cemetery in Quito. At the funeral, the girl's mother and stepfather tried to get Leonardo, who had arrived from Venezuela, to sign a paper stating that he did not intend to make any claims against the family in the future. Leonardo refused to do this, as he did not believe that his daughter had died of the coronavirus and had serious suspicions about his former spouse and her new partner. Andrina and Andres were arrested and imprisoned for their crime, and Paula's father was the one to put the two criminals behind bars. Today, the man has created a foundation in memory of his daughter and helps women and children who suffer from domestic violence. Andrina and Andres were sentenced to 25 and 30 years in prison, respectively. The two filed an appeal, but were denied. In 2021, they attempted to appeal again, but failed. The case is now closed, and Paula is resting in peace. Thank you for joining us on this emotional journey through Paula Salazar's heartbreaking story. It's a reminder of the importance of vigilance, compassion, and the fight for justice. We hope her story inspires us all to stand against abuse and support those in need. If you found this video important, please give it a thumbs up and share it to spread awareness. Don't forget to subscribe to Behind the Curtain for more stories that uncover the truth and shine a light on those who need it most. We appreciate your support, and as always, we'll see you in the next video. Until then, stay informed and stay compassionate.